Hey now, it is brew day. The weather is nice and cool, which makes it perfect for fermenting lagers. And today I'm going to be brewing a German Pilsner. Very excited. It's been a couple years since I've done one of these, but they're freaking delicious. One of my favorite warm weather beers. And I'm going to get some coming down the pipe, which is fantastic. So let's take a look at the grain bill. So this is a really simple grain bill. It's 96.3% Weyermann Pilsner malt, which will give it a really nice sort of grainy, delicious flavor. And then I've got 3.5% Carafoam, and that's just for sort of a little bit of extra possible head retention, just a little bit of character that going on there. So this is enough grain here for 10 gallons. I'm shooting for around 1047-ish original gravity, and it's time to get this stuff milled up. Alright, so I'm going to get this milled up with my Monster Mill 3mm Pro. That'll just take a few minutes for this thing to go through all of that. Alright, so I'm just going to mash in here. I'm using 3 liters per kilogram for a ratio. And I'm going to start off with a protein rest. I find that really helps this Weyermann malt, just ending up with a clearer finished product. So I'm going to do that at 50 degrees Celsius or right around 125 Fahrenheit, and I'm going to give it, my kids are out here, they're excited, give it about half an hour at that, just to do its thing, and then we'll be ready to, I think they're racing on their scooters, then we'll be ready to step up for a beta amylase rest. Yeah, we're right on 50 degrees Celsius here, and recirculating, things are looking nice. Some super opaque wort here initially, but that's obviously going to clear up here soon enough. Alright, so after that half-hour protein rest, I'm now going to do the beta amylase rest, and I'm going to be taking that up to 62.7 degrees Celsius or 144 Fahrenheit, and we're going to mash there for 45 minutes once we get to that temp. And there we are. We just hit our temperature here for our first amylase rest. So that's that 144 or 62.7 Celsius. So after that 45 minutes, I'm going to step up to 67.7 Celsius, up in that 154 Fahrenheit range. Ooh, overshot it there. And once it heats up here, we will let it go for another 45 and really give it a nice alpha rest. And after that 45 minutes of that alpha rest, we're going to mash out. So I'm going to get that up to 75 Celsius or 168 Fahrenheit. And once it's up there solidly at that temp, I'm going to let it sit for 15 minutes. So after that 15-minute mash out, I've begun to sparge. That's with the fly sparge here going on. And yeah, I'm just going to let this get a little bit more wort in here before I add the first wort hops. So it's time for the first wort hops. So here I've got these 29 grams of Hallertaur at 2.3% alpha and 28 grams of Tettnanger at 5.3%. Just fire those in and keep collecting the wort. Woo! Flame on! We are getting pretty close to the boil. It's looking super swamp creature-y over here. Love the first wort hop. And we've had a nice vigorous boil. That's perfect. I'm going to do a 90-minute boil just because of all that Pilsner malt in the grist, just to help reduce potential DMS in the finished product. And the next, I can wait half an hour now. Our first hop addition from here is the 60-minute. So at 60 minutes, we're adding the bittering addition, which is a 12% Magnum. Now we got 28 grams of Tettnanger hops, 10 minutes. All right, and we're going to flame out here with 60 grams of Tettnanger and then Whirlpool. And we've begun to run off here, so we're going to collect about 5 gallons per carboy and then get them set up so that they're ready for fermentation. Ooh. And now I'm just oxygenating here with some oxygen, obviously. Going to give it a solid minute here. All right, so we are ready to pitch here. I oxygenated this. I let that foam settle down. I actually used a little drop of this defoamer here just to help drop that out a little bit quicker. And now I'm ready to pitch. I've got a starter here of Escarpment Biergarten Lager, which I have not used before. I'm very excited to try it out. And I made sure to slant some, so I'll have that in my yeast lab. So if I want to use this in the future, I'll have it on hand, which is excellent. And this was a starter here that I built up, and the first 1.5 liters of it was a 1040 wort, and the last 2.5 liters was at 1050. So there should be a lot of cells based off that pack that I put into there. So should all be good. Now let's just do a little eyeballing. Let's split this in half. So after I grew this up, I let it fully ferment. This has actually been ready for just about a day now. I wanted to make sure I had as much yeast as possible. Let's take a look at this here. All right, let's get some to the other. Yeah, pretty close to where I want to be. Yep, top it all in there. Beautiful. All right, so there we are. I'm just going to quickly get my carboy hoods, which have been sitting in star sand. Get these on here, and my blow-off tubes and all that, and we'll take a look once it's ready. So after I got the blow-off hoses on here, the thermo wells installed, temperature probes, I also went ahead and wrapped these. Each of these carboys has 2 towels wrapped all the way around it, and then this sort of outer towel here as well. It's going to get real cold here in the next couple of days. I think the lows are approaching minus 30 Celsius outside. So it's going to get reasonably cold in here, and I want to make sure that I give these heat wraps and these carboys just every advantage to making sure that they don't drop too much in temperature. So I'm going to be fermenting at 52 Fahrenheit initially, and partway through fermentation, I'm going to start to ramp that temperature up just a little bit. But for now, taking a look at these, my carboys are sitting at 49 Fahrenheit, and yeah, yeast is pitched. So over the next couple of hours, they'll sort of just ramp up a little bit in temperature, and yeah, hopefully it turns out awesome. So about 22 hours in, we've got some decent signs of krausen forming here. So that's really quite encouraging. Everything's sitting at 52 Fahrenheit, and I'm just going to let it gather steam and start to ferment away. So the next morning, these are really fermenting along nicely here. Everything's looking super happy, holding steady at 52 Fahrenheit. A little cold in the blow-off bucket though. So after about a week, krausen started to drop out here on these German Pilsners, and so I have been rousing them and increasing the temperature. I'm now at 62 Fahrenheit, and just rousing them a couple of times a day, just swirling them like so. You can hear that activity in the blow-off bucket. I'm just kind of kicking some of that yeast up here. Yeah, just trying to get it to attenuate as fully as possible. So I got a gravity reading yesterday on these Pilsners here, and they turned out to match the forced attenuation test of 1010. So they've hit terminal gravity, and I've just begun to lower the temperature. Now, because it's so cold in the garage here, I'm just doing it 2 degrees Fahrenheit at a time, just so it doesn't crash cool too quickly and try to suck up fluid and pollute these beers. So let it do this for probably another day. Well, I just took the towels, the fancy insulation off of these two carboys, and you can see they were kind of starting to clear out, and that yeast was dropping out of there. That's fantastic. I'm going to be transferring these off here. Normally I would probably let them go for a little bit longer just to crash cool out that yeast. However, I'm going to be firing some Schwarzbier wort on top of these today, so this is sort of my switchover time. So these are at terminal, still obviously some yeast in suspension, but that's totally okay. There's going to be more than enough yeast in these carboys to ferment that Schwarzbier. So same deal as usual, just with the pressure transferring trick that I use. So in case you can't tell from my nice green shirt here with shamrocks on it, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm actually going to start off the evening here with some of this German Pilsner, which I know isn't traditional St. Patty's, but I'm just really excited because I just got it on tap. So after pressure transferring into a keg, I chilled it down, gelatin-fined it, let it sit for a couple of weeks, then pressure transferred into a second keg and carbonated last night. So we are ready to taste today. You can check out videos of all of that in the brewing playlist on the channel, but let's pour a beer. And here we go. So look at that. That is a super beautiful beer. The head kind of died down there a little bit after a minute or so, but absolutely beautiful, crystal clear, awesome color. It has that really nice Tettnanger, slightly spicy hop aroma paired with that grainy Weyermann Pilsner malt character. Such a refreshing beer with those 37 IBUs, that kind of high 4% range, nice and drinkable, crushable. You're not getting into too much trouble with that either. That finishing gravity of 10-10, again, just making it really easy to drink. There's still enough body that you know that you've got like a nice quality craft beer here, but nothing that's kind of too heavy. So perfect for a hot day. Really excited that I ran through a whole string of lagers this winter so that I'm ready for the summer. So yeah, absolutely give this recipe a try if you want to make yourself a pretty decent German Pils. And until next time, keep it 11.